Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is August 29th, and today's episode is going to cover news of a new call that might be starting in the Rocket Pool community between the team and researchers. We're going to be talking about updates from Diva, the staking platform that's potentially going to be starting soon. Let's talk about that. And then on the Ethereum news, we're going to be talking about ways to solve liquidity fragmentation on layer 2s. We're going to be talking about a whole lot of stuff that's happening with DeFi and research on Ethereum. And we're going to end the episode with a little bit of hopeful TA, as technical analysis. So let's get started.
10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
So we're going to start this episode today with this discussion that was taking place in the channel talking about core dev funding and how that's going to happen. And Lulo here had a comment about the team kind of being a black box. The idea being that, the team just go off and do their things and we don't really know what's happening with the team and what they're doing, and how that basically leads to a disconnect between what the team are doing and the community are doing. So Langas actually replied to that last night. Actually, before I continue, it's August 30th, not August 29th. The day is just vanishing. Anyway, Langas here then said, we do what we can to be responsive. We have bi-weekly updates on what we're doing. We have bi-weekly calls where the community can just ask questions. We respond with when we're pinged in the channels and DMs. Really don't know what else we can be doing. It may take us some time because we also have to get stuff done. And occasionally it takes a while to figure out our position, but we're very aware that everything we say is analyzed. We try to have considered responses. And then he says, this is exactly why we need to have the researcher call. I feel like both the core team and the GMC have gotten closer by hearing each other out. So this is actually really interesting that Langas mentions this. So for those of you who don't know, the GMC has a call with the team every 2 weeks, and it's normally a call with Grant and Langas, and sometimes Mav might pop his head in, but it's just a way of the GMC to ask the team questions and for them to give us information that we might need or want, and for the team to get information from the GMC as well about what we're doing, what we're thinking of doing, what we're funding, etc. So that call has actually worked really well for the GMC and the people on the GMC, because I think we have a lot more insight now into what the team is thinking and doing. The call that Langas here is suggesting is adding a second call between, like a kind of a private call between the team and the community, and this call would be for members members of the community who are involved in research or doing work on governance and stuff like that. So I'm guessing people like Val, Noshua, Holulo, Scuzzle, Samus, and others would long for wisdom. Definitely, they're the ones who would kind of be invited to this call and share ideas back and forth. Epinef probably as well. But these are the people who are most active in those areas of the protocol. I think the really great thing that would come from this is, the team and the community would have ideas and be able to share ideas in the really early stages about where discussions are going, what kind of research is taking place, and what's going on with that. I think that would actually be a really good idea, just to build some more bridges between the community and the team. I think, because it's worked so well for the GMC, I strongly suspect that it'll work well for the people who go onto this research call as well, because there are times, and I'll mirror Lulo's sentiment here, that the team has kind of felt a little bit detached from the community, even though there have been bridges that have been built. There's still that element there. I think it might have felt a little bit less when Joe was still on the team and he used to spend time in Discord every day. I feel like Joe was kind of like a really nice bridge between the team and the community. I know Mav, of course, does some of those things, but I think when Joe did it, it was slightly different. But with these calls, the fact that they're private as well means that I think Langas can be a little bit more open, talk about things in a way that he might not want to talk about on bi-weekly calls and the community calls that we have. So this was actually really cool to see this, and I really hope that this researcher call gets set up soon. And if you'd like to invite me, I would love to be part of it, but I'd mostly just be a fly on the wall instead of contributing. But that sounds like it'd be a really, really good use of everyone's time. Okay, next we have news of a client update, and this is for MEV Boost. The majority of people who are node operators on Rocket Pool use MEV Boost. I think over 90% of people do. So there's a new version here, which is version 1.8, and this has two noteworthy, albeit minor changes, and a bit of cleanup and dependency issues. So the two noteworthy changes, are add request start time metrics to request header filed by the header filed header field, and remove color types. So I'm not sure exactly what those mean, but I guess those are noteworthy but minor changes. Then there's a bunch of cleanup stuff. So if you want to update your MEV Boost client, you can do that by going to the terminal user interface on your smart node and entering the information and changing the field to make it MEV Boost 1.8, and then you can update that. Okay, moving on to some staking news now. We were kind of light on the Rocket Pool news. With staking news, a whole bunch of people in the Rocket Pool community got airdropped Diva tokens, and Diva had a call yesterday where they talked about, or earlier today maybe? No, yesterday I think, and it was uploaded earlier today, where they talked about what's coming next for Diva and Nectar, and this was the Diva operator huddle testnet beta update AMA. So there were a whole bunch of people who took part in this and asked questions, and then they answered. And Terrace from the Rocket Pool community listened to the call, and he was pulling out some key parts of the call to share with the Rocket Pool community. So he says, I'm pretty confident. This is someone from the Diva team saying, I'm pretty confident that we are launching Diva this year. I'd say 9 or 10 probability out of 10. So it's either 90% or 100% probability that Diva will launch this year. That got a few laugh faces because Diva's been about to launch for quite a while now and it hasn't launched yet. But I think I take this claim a little bit more seriously. And then said if a node is not performing well, that can be reported. If it's reported enough time, that node will be disabled. If 2 out of 5 the nodes are reported, so this is in their cluster, right? Because it's going to be a distributed validator technology. So each validator will run with 5 nodes, and if 2 out of those 5 nodes are reported and disabled, then the whole of that validator will be exited. And then they're saying that you can use any execution and consensus client you want. However, the validator client must be Nimbus because it's the only one that supports the Web3 signer. So Diva will be 100% Nimbus, so they won't have any consensus client diversity. So if Nimbus for some reason goes down, then Diva would go down as well. And then they said Diva client would only be open sourced when the mainnet launches, and the contracts will be open source maybe earlier if they decide to do a bounty contest or something like that. They may verify some contracts Etherscan earlier, like the token ones. And then Noshua links to his previous comments here, saying that he thinks that this was from August. This was from a year ago, pretty much August 25th, 2023. He says they're talking about Q4 2023. I think Q4 2024 is more probable than Q4 2023. So this is over a year ago, where the Diva people were saying that their mainnet would be coming in 6 months, but it's actually been like not 6 months, sorry, like 4 months. It's been a year and 4 months instead. But if it launches by the end of this year, so there was a little bit more discussion about going back and forth about what Diva client is going to be like, and what their metrics will be like. But we got some news basically on Diva right now. So for those of you who don't know, like I got a sizable airdrop from Diva for being what they called a community OG member. Now, I became a Diva delegate, and a lot of people delegated their votes to me. Over the last few months, however, I've not really been following the Diva project all that closely. So if you want to delegate your votes away from me, I would totally understand that. It's just not, I don't have the bandwidth to stay on top of the Diva project as well. So when Pateris was summarizing their call here, I thought it was a good opportunity to catch you all up on what's happening on Diva, since I've not mentioned it in quite a while. Okay, next we are moving on to some Ethereum news. And the big Ethereum news here today is some progress on ERC 7683. So the Uniswap Labs here had a post saying, if we want cross-chain interoperability, we need to reduce L2 fragmentation. That's why we've teamed up with a cross-protocol to develop ERC 7683, the first standard for cross-chain intents. So Uniswap here is saying that ERC 7683 is a new standard proposing that all cross-chain intents follow the same order structure, solving liquidity fragmentation through a universal filler network. So what they're saying here is you have the user, they'll sign a cross-chain order, and then that will go to the origin chain where the settlement contract will initiate the order, it'll get the filler, and then that will happen, and then the destination change will go from the filler to the user on the destination change. So on the destination chain. So here Uniswap says we'll adopt the standard when we get cross-chain, when we go cross-chain with Uniswap X. But the best news is anyone can implement it now because the information is out there. So just this was, I believe, created with Cross Protocol and Uniswap, but this is already being worked. So here across are saying that superchain season is upon us. So Optimism has adopted 7683 and across his intent-based bridging solution to enable fast, cheap, and secure cross-chain transfers through the superchain. And then they said that there's a granular look here. So Uniswap will be using this, and OP will be using it across the different OP chains, which is actually pretty cool. And then they said that this will give seamless interoperability through efficient cross-chain bridging, and a cross-bridge is deployed on the following superchain mainnet networks. So you have Optimism Base, Mode, Lisk, Zora, and others. And this is Optimism Pioneer or Optimism Rollup Technology, and they've seen millions of transfers and billions in bridge volume. So the tokens that they'll be supporting are ETH, Wrapped ETH, USDC, USDT, DAI, Wrapped Bitcoin, BAL, UMA, ACX, that's I guess their own token, SNX, and Pool. So Base being one of the most popular L2s, they've got billions of transfers as well and activity. And then just giving an example of all the different activity that's happening across these different these different chains and L2s, and how you'll be able to operate between them seamlessly. So across the saying, luckily if you're reading this, you're early. We love rewarding early bridgers. For a limited time, you can earn OP rewards for bridging to Optimism Base, Mode, Zora, or Redstone, and start your superchain journey the right way. And then of course, we'll have other chains that are coming online with the OP. I think Sonium is going to be an OP superchain member as well. Maybe I'm mistaken there, but I think that's right. And then a whole bunch of others are going to be coming online that will be doing the same kind of thing. And I'm sure that Arbitrum and ZK Sync Era will have their own versions of this, and the Polygon ecosystem is going to have the AG layer. So it might be that we have a few different versions of these standards. Eventually, though, I'm sure within the next few years, we'll have like one unifying standard that will link all of those together. And then that's when we'll be at the end game of getting rid of this interoperability and fragmentation issues. Okay, so who's doing this work, right? Who's finding this out? Well, Ethereum researchers here are having a great moment, and they are developing incredibly quickly. So here we have this post from Emre saying the real Ethereum bull run isn't price, it's brain power. 1,500% growth in researchers since 2019. It's hard to bet against the collective brain power of this ecosystem. So you can look at the chart, it's just showing that over the last 5 years, the number of people working on Ethereum, the research on Ethereum has just been up and to the right. Like, it's grown so much. And these are people who are working with Ethereum Foundation, with other protocols, and putting out information, EIPs, etc., to get work done on Ethereum. So this is absolutely amazing, and it's really great to see. So yeah, it's just really cool. Like, if you compare it, for example, with full-time devs on Ethereum, there's 7,688, and monthly active devs is nearly 9,000. With Cardano, it's 200 full-time devs and 635 active devs, and that's as of July 1st. So they're doing a really good job. With people who like to FUD Ethereum, their first instinct is there's too many cooks in the kitchen. So this is just telling you, like, that's Kyle, who people really disliked being on Bankless last week. But yeah, it's really funny about people saying that that's like low and stuff. But this is really cool. Like, even in the Rocket Pool community, like I was saying, that, you know, with the call with the researchers being set up, there's some really, really passionate, engaged people who provide a lot of time to Rocket Pool research. And these are people like Ken and Noshua and Valdorf and a whole bunch of others. That's in no specific order, but these are people who have written papers, who've provided research on all sorts of different things, such as like theft, such as LEBs, how to do them safely and at different angles, and tokenomics work, of course, you know, spearheaded by people who are researching Rocket Pool. So if you start to count those kind of people as researchers as well, then there's like tens of thousands in the Ethereum ecosystem, like, you know, people attached with different apps and protocols. I'm sure there's dozens attached to something like Aave or Uniswap. So this is really, really cool stuff. Okay, talking about really cool stuff, here we have this post from Franklin Templeton Digital News. So these are one of the big asset managers, and they're really going in on their digital asset section of their work. And they actually put out a short paper saying decentralized finance lending protocols, crypto fixed income market. So here they're talking about, you know, what is DeFi, what are the components of DeFi, and talking about DeFi tech sector total deposits and borrows and volume over the last few years, and Aave deposits and volume, how that's looking. And then they actually go into talking about Aave. So they say Aave is the largest protocol in the DeFi lending space. Aave has been chosen as the first case study as of August 2024. Aave's total lending deposits stand at 21.2 billion and borrows 8.5 billion with a total annualized fees of $302 million. Launched in 2017 on Ethereum, Aave operates through Liquidity pool, allowing users to deposit crypto assets either for borrowing or lending purposes. The interest earned by lenders varies depending on the assets deposited, market conditions, and the Aave version. And after that, they got another case study for MakerDAO, and talking about MakerDAO and you know, why they selected it, about how it's the first and largest collateralized stablecoin DAI, and other information about it as well. So this is how you know, TradFi learn about DeFi and what's going on. And the Aave fans are definitely really happy about the fact that Aave is being mentioned in these words. Of course, you know, I've talked about Aave on Rocket Fuel a whole bunch of times recently, about like a lot of interest that is coming onto Aave recently and how that's all working. But yeah, the fact that, you know, people from TradFi are now writing case studies about Aave and MakerDAO is actually, I think, really promising and really cool. So definitely give that a read if you're interested in that. Okay, we've got this post from Bobby Tucker comparing what it's like to move currencies across a border and swapping from one currency to another. So when you think of sending money across the world, right, like the standard thing is like send it through your bank, which is slow and expensive, and they take a big chunk of your money as fees and give you bad rates on exchange. Then you get like specialized services like Western Union, who also do the same kind of thing. On top of that, you get things like PayPal that are slightly better than banks, but not as good as Western Union, etc. Then you have some very niche products that do a better rate, like they give you better rates and it's slightly faster as well. Well, actually, it's not faster, but they just give you a better rate. Those are like smaller services that are not used by very many people. But here, Bobby says that if you want to swap 1,000 USDC, you get euros. So, for example, if I want to send $1,000 to someone in Europe and they want to accept euros, then how do I get them to them in the best way possible, right? So here, Bobby says that there's no going back. On-chain is faster and cheaper than any other platform. More global economy is more on-chain economy. So here he compares like the best solutions that you could get. So Western Union, basically $1,000 will get you 815 euro. So that is you losing 8% of 8.6% of the value, and it takes one business day. With PayPal, you would get €822, so that you're losing 7.8% of the value, and that will take 5 to 10 days. With Uniswap, however, you can swap from USDC to Euro, and that swap in itself will actually get you €892, which is absolutely amazing. And that could be done in a few seconds. Now, it might be like, okay, so if I have USDC, I'll go to Uniswap. I would approve, $1,000 USDC for spending. Then I would swap, and then I would send that. So that is actually not just one transaction. There's at least 3 transactions that take place there. So instead of 2 to 5 seconds, it might be like 2 minutes. But when you compare the fact that you're getting €892, which is way more than the others, the actual sending is pennies because gas is so cheap. I think this is on base, so gas is free pretty much. And the settlement is pretty much instant as well, 2 minutes max from beginning to end. That is just absolutely phenomenal. The Ethereum intern here has a take on this, saying, "We will know that we have won when Forex is cheaper on-chain than in TradFi. We have won. So the next few years will be the world adapting to our winning." So one of the things that I should make clear here is this is for retail users, right? Like, if you're dealing with a few $1,000s here, a few $1,000s there, this is where you can get those amazing rates. This is not for, on the scale of millions, billions, or trillions of dollars like that TradFi does with Forex stuff. This is a lot less than that. So here, the Jesse from Base as well is saying like it's 10 to 100 times faster, and it's 2 to 10 times cheaper, and this is why people are moving. So here, the fee for swapping an aerodrome on Base is 0.1%. Going from USDC to Euro, EURC, EURC. But in TradFi, the cheapest one you can get here, like I said, those niche services is Wise at 0.2%, Zoom at 2%, and Wells Fargo would charge you 3%. So these are the kind of things that I'm talking about where you can get amazing progress by going on chain and doing this on chain instead of doing this through TradFi rails. You get more money and it happens much quicker. And people are realizing this in the developing world. People use Tron for USDT payments, and I think hopefully these people will start moving on to Ethereum layer 2s and using those instead, but because they're actually cheaper than Tron. But that's what happens, right? They realize that sending money, actually getting access to dollars, is better on chain than it is in real life, like through TradFi and through black markets in some of these countries. And then on top of that, you can actually work with it like much more cheaply, much faster, and if you're on chain, then it's unstoppable, right? Like you can't be censored. I guess on Base you might not have the same security and settlement assurances that you have on mainnet, but for a few dollars here and there, I think it's not a problem, and that's actually amazing. Okay, talking about TradFi, like we are actually getting more integrations between the TradFi and crypto worlds. So here, Bloomberg Terminal have, that's the software system that a lot of traders use and people who work in the financial markets use to get their information and to do their work. And Bloomberg Terminal now is adding Polymarket data onto their terminal. So they are integrating the US presidential prediction markets and polling data onto their system. So here, side by side with polling data, you see that Kamala Harris is a bit ahead of Donald Trump, with the presidential election is pretty much 50% to 49%, and then that's through Polymarket, and then there's Predict It, which is the TradFi prediction market, and that is Kamala Harris at 55%, Donald Trump 48%. So there's a bit more spread there, but you'll see that there's this is actually happening. People are like taking this information seriously, and it's amazing that this stuff is all chain. Okay, I talked about dDocs a few weeks ago on Rocket Fuel, saying that this is a nice new way of building on Ethereum as a backbone. And here, Fileverse have an update now saying that Markdown with import, export, and more is now available on dDocs. So word cells and shape rotators are working together to get this done. So let's say whether you're whether you're writing, coding, calculating, or planning, your dDocs will flexibly adapt to your content and be portable across any .md compatible environment. So you can have a look at how this works. They've got a little video that kind of shows you what it's looking like. And this is in response to a tweet from Vitalik 6 days ago saying, do you have or are you planning to add Markdown import and export? That would be a really significant feature to motivate me to use it more. So this is, like, for those of you who don't know, dDocs is kind of like Google Docs. And this is one of those situations where you can see what's going on with you can collaborate and write with other people around the world, and it's really amazing. So definitely check that out. Okay, I'm going to finish the Ethereum part of today's episode with some TA, and I have been the first to say that TA is trash. It's like astrology for crypto bros, as they say. But I'm covering it a little bit to maybe give some of you all some hope in these dark times where sentiment is so low. So here we have something from Michael saying a valid daily bullish divergence on Ethereum against Bitcoin. The last time we've seen this, it marked the low in January 2021 and in September 2019. So if this cycle is repeating those patterns and we're at 2019, the party is on the horizon. So what they're showing here is that there's been, they use indicators to show the relative strength. I think it's the RSI, and that is actually going up, but the price of the token is going down. That's ETH Bitcoin is going down. So what that is, it's called a divergence. And because of the way that the divergence is happening, this is called a bullish divergence, which means that the prices should turn around from here and then move up. So what they're saying is that if the ETH BTC ratio can get above around 0.051, then at that point we'll be on track for bigger gains to come in the next few months. Here, CRG is saying that I consulted my wall bag. He said full send ETH. I tend to believe him. Now this is just hilarious. They painted a channel going back a couple of weeks, showing the ETH price going between it against the dollar, and then it kind of just went a little bit over, then went just a little bit under, and now it's back in the channel, and there's an arrow going up and to the right, which means the price is going to go up and to the right, and of course it's TA, so you have to believe that, right? Finally, there's Cryptolica, who have got a target for this bull cycle for Ethereum between $13,000 and $15,000, and they've drawn lines basically going back a few years, showing the price of ETH going above and under those lines. And there's some like green up cycles and some red down cycles, and they're showing that we've actually come out of a red down cycle, and now we're on an up cycle, and that the next thing is to go on like a parabolic move upwards, and I think it's going to take us to those amounts. So hey, you all know that TA is the absolute truth. This is definitely going to happen. So you can put all your money into ETH. And that, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. This is not financial advice. Please don't listen to guys. But I'm just saying that at least the TA guys are getting bullish now. So maybe it might be a prelude to some price activity that we might all enjoy. Okay, I'm going to finish the episode with some wider crypto news, and this is about Solana and Tron, and some of the hypocrisies that we might have seen from the alternative layer 1 communities. So here Waz says Solana total fees and Jito tips are down 50% since Justin Sun copied pumped out fund on Tron. Seems like many degens grew tired of the Sol Casino and moved onto the Tron Casino instead. So here you can see that their fees are down, their tips are down, and the amount of people transacting on Solana has gone down. And here Liam says that all L1 liquidity fragmentation at work, but I was told that liquidity fragmentation was exclusively an Ethereum and L2 problem. This is the biggest psyop of the cycle. So this is the thing that I think a lot of people don't realize, is they look at these monolithic blockchains and then at the same time they say things like, hey, we want there to be, a multi-chain world. But when they think of a multi-chain world, they think of, there'll be stuff happening on Solana and there'll be stuff happening on Tron and Aptos and Sui and Cardano and whatever else, Polkadot, whatever other alt layer one is the taste of the week, the flavor of the week. And what they don't realize is that those are the ultimate liquidity fragmentation, right? Like if you have your assets on Solana, there's nothing you can do about going to Tron without there being centralized forces involved. Now, that's because there's no trustless bridges, right? Like you've seen so many bridge hacks happen, like the wormhole hack and a whole bunch of others. And those were because the bridges acted as honeypots across blockchains. And that's when they're most vulnerable. Now, if you have a bridge from Ethereum layer one, the mainnet, to an ETH2, those bridges work within the Ethereum ecosystem and they're a lot more secure than any of these cross-chain bridges. And I think this kind of thing just shows you that the alt layer ones are actually much more at risk of, or suffer much more from liquidity fragmentation than Ethereum does, even with the L2s. And like we started off this Ethereum section, you'd seen that a whole lot of work is being done on making those L2s interoperable and composable with each other. And it's a hard challenge, but the work is being done, and it looks like we're getting closer and closer every day. Whereas with alt layer ones, there's actually no way to create the level of trust and security in the bridges that you want there to. So on that note, I'm going to end today's episode. So thank you all for watching, listening, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community. I hope you all have a lovely week ahead, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.